Hello again, guys. So welcome back. This time we're gonna cover passive voice, and I will be happy to explain that to you. So if you have any questions, remember, shoot me a message, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So again, this presentation is brought to you by Tanjiro, Demon Slayer. Yeah, we're gonna start. Okay, so when do we use passive voice? The passive voice is used to show interest in the person or object that experiences an action rather than the person or object that performs the action. In this case, it is not important to know or we don't know who performed the action. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit into more of this topic. So we have on the left, we have Senitsu, and he said, I haven't made tacos. I haven't made the tacos, sorry. So this is very sad news, right? So what if somebody asks, where are the tacos? We can see that on the right. So somebody asks, where are the tacos? If we don't want to throw Senitsu under the bus because he would be scolded probably, we can just say the tacos haven't been made. So in this case, we're not saying who didn't make the tacos. We just said that they haven't been made. Okay, so in this case, we're not specifying again who didn't make the tacos. Here's some more examples. The passive voice is used frequently. In this sentence, we are interested in the passive voice, not in who uses it. In the second sentence, the house was built in 1654. We're interested in the house, not in who built it. And the last one, the road is being repaired. In this case, we're interested in the road, not in the people who are doing the repairs. So the same way we had our taco sentence, we have these sentences. So we don't care who's doing the actions or who's not doing the actions. So here's how it works. Here's how we change actives into passive. Okay, so the passive voice in English is composed of two elements. Okay, so we're gonna use the verb to be in its appropriate form, and we're gonna add the past participle of the main verb. Here we can see in the first sentence, we have Tanjiro ate our pizza. So this is a simple past sentence, which means that our verb to be is going to be in simple past. So here we can see our passive sentence is our pizza was eaten by Tanjiro. So we have to first determine what tense is our active sentence in. Once we do that, then we can know what we need to change our verb to be to. So let's analyze the second example. We have people don't follow the law. So here, again, we're using present simple, don't follow. So our verb to be needs to be in present simple. It has to be negative though, because we're saying don't follow. So here we have the passive equivalent, which would be the law isn't followed by people. Okay, this last part where we have by people and in the first one, by Tanjiro, it's in parentheses because we can add that information if we want, but it's not necessary. We can omit it. Like we said, it's not important who did the action. What's important is that the action was done or who received the action. Here we can analyze another example. Okay, so we have the active voice example on top. It says, I call weird people every day. Okay, so in this case, we need to break down this sentence. To make a passive sentence from an active one, we need to grab the object. That's right, we need forcibly an object to be able to make it into passive sentence. So in this case, our object is weird people, and our subject is I. We don't really care for that I anymore. What we care for is weird people, which is our object. So we're gonna make our object into our subject. And we can see that underneath. We have weird people are called every day. And then our subject from our active sentence passes to be our agent. We call this an agent because it's not really necessary in the sentence, and it's not an object either. We can remove this information like we mentioned, or we can add it if we want to add a little bit more details. But very important to notice that we need to change the object into a subject. It's very important to notice this. Since we're using past participle, we need to practice the past participle of the irregular verbs. Okay, so for regular verbs, we just add an ed, but for irregular verbs, we would need to practice a lot. So here we have an example: sell, sold, sold, speak, spoke, spoken. So we need to have these memorized, or at least the main ones that we use, so we can use passive sentences. Okay, so here we have on the right, passive verbs have the same tenses as active verbs. Like we've just seen that, okay? The only thing that we're conjugating is the verb be. So we have here our first example on top. It says present simple. Our active sentence is everyone hates our boss. Remember, so this is present simple. So our verb to be needs to be present simple. What is the present simple of the verb to be? Is. So here we're grabbing again our object, which is our boss, and we're going to make that our subject. So our boss is hated. Again, we can say by everyone if we want to, but not necessary. So we have a past simple example underneath. This one says, the neighbor's dogs destroyed my football. Okay, so right here, it's in past simple, so we need to make sure that the verb to be is in past simple. So my football was destroyed. That's the main idea. If we have present perfect, many people have seen my new TikTok video. So in this case, present perfect, sorry. So we need to make sure that our verb to be is present perfect. What is the present perfect of the verb to be? Has been. So here we have it. My new TikTok video has been seen by many people. Okay, so here we have some more examples. Feel free to pause the video and go over them, but it's going to be the same. It has the same changes in all of them. So I'm going to move forward a little bit. Okay, so here we're explaining the structure. Okay, so this is the structure for the regular affirmative sentences. So as you can see, the yellow ones are the subjects, the green ones are the verb to be and how we conjugate it. The blue ones are past participle, and this kind of like reddish pinkish thing is a complement. So here we can see the subject. So we would have, for a simple present one, it would be the house is cleaned every day. Simple past, the house was cleaned yesterday. Sorry. Present perfect, the house has been cleaned since you left. And here are some extra ones. There are uh, all of the tenses in the English language have passive forms, but we're only focusing on the three red ones since those are the ones that we are seeing in our book. Okay, I just added some extra ones so you guys know that we have passives for every single tense. All right, but we're not gonna focus on those or even explain those. Just know that they do exist. Okay, here we have some more examples, but in this case, we're showcasing that you can have affirmatives, negatives, and questions, okay? So these are exactly the same 6 sentences. Here we can have, the house was built in 1899. So how can we make this into a negative? Well, the same way we make negatives for past and for present and for present perfect. So was, we just add not, right? So the house wasn't built in 1899. How do we make it into a question? We just change the place. The placement of the verb to be has to be in the front. So here we have, was the house built in 1899? And here we have a lot of different examples. You guys are welcome to go over them, but the changes are the same. as they would be in any regular present, present past, and present perfect sentence. But go over these sentences so you can get an idea of the structure if you think you would struggle with it. Here are some very, very important key points to remember. So the passive voice in English is composed of two elements, like we saw, which was the verb to be and the past participle. The only thing that we're going to conjugate is the verb to be, okay? So we need to study irregular verbs and their past participle. Why? Because passives use past participles in all of the sentences. All of them are going to use past participles. Passive verbs have the same tenses as active verbs, like we saw. If the active sentence is simple present, the passive sentence is simple present. Okay, so they're going to be the same. And like we already mentioned, the only thing we're conjugating when we change it into a passive is the verb to be. Okay, and then the main verb, the main action, is gonna be changed to past participle, like we've seen in a lot of different examples on top. So at this moment, we've arrived to the end of the explanation part. I will pause this video in case you have any questions. I will answer them at this moment. Okay, guys, so since nobody has any questions, we're going to move on to the following activity, which is making a concept map in which you're going to explain the topic that we just saw. Be as detailed as possible so you can use that concept map to study for your exam or anytime you have to review or utilize um, or this topic. Okay, so what is the first activity that we have to do after we do the concept map? Well, we're going to do only one. All right, so for passive voice practice, you have 10 sentences here. You have to change these 10 sentences into passive voice. Okay, so remember, the key thing is identifying what tense it is so you can know what to conjugate your verb to be to. All right, again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be free in chat at this moment. So this is the reference page. In case you guys want to check the links where I got all the information from, you feel free to do so. A lot of the information was taken from your book also. So it has a very, very clear and simple explanation in the book, but it was lacking a little bit more information. All right. So I hope you guys liked this explanation. I hope it was clear. And I hope nobody has any questions. And if you do, like I've said several times, feel free to ask me, and I'll be free in chat right now. All right. So see you later, guys. Take care. And well, until next time, because I will be presenting a lot more topics apparently. See you guys. Take care.